Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Scorpio, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of March 2023. I hope you are well. I'm using what am I using here? I'm using the Night Sun Tarot for you today. A little bit of housekeeping. If the reading resonates with you and you would like to go a little bit deeper, there will be an extended that is available at the end. That will be the first link in the description box. The second link in the description box is to the 6-month overviews that I did for each of the signs. They run from January to June 2023. And obviously we're a little way through that, so I have reduced the prices accordingly. So if you haven't had a chance to check out what that time frame holds in store for you, please do feel free to avail yourself of that link. The third link is to my private community, the Order of the Phoenix, over on Circle. You can get access to all of the extended content that I do over there, and also get to hang out with some really extraordinary people. So, with all of that said, let's see what's going on with you, Scorpio. Could I have 3 cards for Scorpio, please? We have the Two of Swords in your recent past. What about current energy for Scorpio, please? Whoa, goodness. Right, we've got the Page of Pentacles and we've got the Six of Cups together. And then what's coming towards Scorpio, please? Goodness. We have the Page of Swords and we have the Tower. I'm giggling because I do a meditation before I start any recording at all, and I use these little coins that I've got. They've got the zodiac on, and it was quite intense for you. I didn't really see anything come through, but there was an intensity to it that I couldn't quite. That was moderately uncomfortable, actually, I have to say. But I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a really good thing, actually. And I did feel the Tower when I picked up this. I felt the Tower. I mean, this is not a deck that just comes out when it's a bland month, right? And it's not going to be a bland month for anyone because we've got some big planetary movements happening this month. And everyone is going to feel the effects of that, just so you know. But I do genuinely believe that those people who have been doing their work, the people, and you've been doing it for years now, I've just cut the deck and there you are, Scorpio, are the people that are meant to weather this better than others. The people that are going to really struggle are the people who do not expect what is about to happen, whatever that might be. I don't want to sound too dramatic, although, you know, I will point out to you that my Mercury is in Leo, but I think we're about to see some really big things. Now, as I keep saying to you, and I have been saying for years, everything that is going on outside of you is a distraction at this point. So I feel like the Tower is something far more personal to you, and I think accompanied with this Page of Swords, and we'll just get this out of the way right now, I think that it is accompanying a change of perspective that is very necessary for your success moving forwards. Let's put it like that. So let's flip this camera around so that I can do the obligatory bitching about the fact that it's not straight and fidget with it and all that sort of stuff, and then give up and just tilt the cards so that they look straight to you. Right, okay. I have to say, and even without really even engaging with what any of the cards mean at this point, I feel like this month is amazing for you. And you know, let's get some clarifiers out and see what this is about, but it feels incredible. Tell me about this Two of Swords. We have the Queen of Pentacles. And we have the Five of Cups in the reverse. Wonderful. That's a Scorpio card. That's a Scorpio card. Maybe about the Page of Pentacles. We have the Hermit. We have the Ten of Pentacles. And let's have one more. We have the Four of Cups. Another Scorpio card? No, that's not Scorpio. And tell me about this Page of Swords. We have the Knight of Pentacles. We have the Emperor, Aries. And one more card, please, we have the Fool. Now, that just bobbed around back to front, but I'm going to put it that way up because that's how it is. I'm telling you that is how it is. So let's move it there. put this here. We've got the Eight of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Sorry about the sun on the cards there. We see what they are. We've got the Queen of Swords and we've got the Eight of Wands. There is something coming into land this month. Judgment, yeah, like this is shaping up to be exactly how I'm feeling it. There are big life-changing things happening for you this month. And I feel like they're coming by your own hand, and I shall explain why I feel that is. But there's something truly pivotal about this month for you. I'm going to pull up another deck. I think we'll use the Triple Goddess just so that we can clarify as we go along, because I think that might be necessary. I'll clarify, add more information as we go along. So let's get this started. We start off with the Two of Swords, beg your pardon, which is a card that I actually usually term willful ignorance. But it's slightly different in the Knights on Tarot. I mean, I think that we still have this sense of there being something that is not seen with this card, right? It feels very internal. And I often talk about it in terms of our minds kind of swerving around stuff that we don't really want to look at, right? That what our subconscious is doing under the radar. But it feels like there has been a battle that has been won. Something has changed in the recent past for you. And when I say recent past, I mean, it literally could be this morning. But it also could be, as long ago as 6 weeks ago. Like there's something has changed. And the interesting thing is, I think that what has changed is the thing that you do not see at this point. It's just that everything has started to feel better. Everything has started to feel lighter. And this is really odd because we've been coming, I don't know about you, but since about November, I've felt this building crescendo of chaos, right? There's a building crescendo of emotional tension that doesn't seem to have been getting an outlet anywhere. And this is what I feel outside of me. It's certainly not how I feel internally. And it's like as things are becoming more chaotic and more surreal and, dare I say it, a little odd. Let's just put it that way, a little odd. It seems like you are finding your feet more and more and more. You know, we've got the Queen of Pentacles there, and she's a Capricorn card, and she talks about investment in oneself. And I think whatever you've been doing, you've been certainly investing in yourself. But there have been times in the past where you have invested in yourself, and the difference hasn't been quite as tangible as that you seem to be feeling right now. It's like when I talk about things that we do not see, I'm talking about the projections often that we set off, in the direction of other people, where we make judgments about them and all that sort of stuff. And what we're not seeing is how we're actually making a statement about ourselves in that moment. That would be very, very common for the Two of Swords. But it's like, it's like something has shifted here and you don't know what it is. It's almost like you're doing the things that you have always done. The world's going fucking insane. And yet, you seem to be stabilizing in the middle of it daily. Every day that goes by, you're just a little bit more stable and a little bit more stable and a little bit more secure and a little bit more... dare I say it, filled with faith, Scorpio. That's what I'm feeling. It's faith and self-belief. And then we have this Five of Cups here. Now, like I said, this is a Scorpio card. And I know some people kind of reference this one on here. This is slightly different. It doesn't have any cups on it. And I've spoken about why I keep that there and why that is special to me. When it is this way round, it talks about being stuck. It's stuck on a feeling. And the feeling is generally loss. And it can, we can also have bitterness and resentment, and we can have, all sorts of really unpleasant feelings because somebody is so stuck on what they don't have, they miss what they do have. Okay? And this feeling can be all-encompassing. I mean, sometimes this card talks specifically about grief. And it could be that that's the thing, grief and bereavement. And grief and bereavement don't need to come from literal deaths. They can be the death of a marriage or, the death of a friendship or something. It's like where there was something and now it's gone, we mourn for that thing. He's clearly in a state of mourning. But the energy of this card is quite unstable. It speaks to an unstable emotional aspect in oneself, because it's not coming from a healthy place. Like, these cups aren't just going to magically right themselves, and whatever they contained isn't magically going to go back into it. It's mourning for the past. When you turn a card that is inherently unstable in its upright form, when you reverse that, what you're doing is you're bringing a stabilization to your energies. So instead of focusing on what you have lost, it is now focusing on what you have, and what you have is you in abundance, Scorpio. But we're also getting to that point where we're looking up and we're looking around, and it's not what we've lost, but it's what we could have. That seems to be the shift that is happening now. And if you were to try and pin it down to one thing that you've done, or one sort of thought that you had that changed everything, I think that you would find it really, really hard. Just as trying to explain why it is that you feel more stable and more secure and more faith-filled and more belief-filled than you have done at any other point before. It's like, I can't do it. I don't know why it's happened, but it has. Let's get some cards out here. Tell me about this Queen of Swords appearing again over here too. Whenever the Queen of Swords for me appears, she's an energy of working things out. We talk about her in terms of discernment, and in the little monologue that I have running constantly in my head about what the tarot cards mean. I see this process that happens between the page and the king in every suit. And if the page discovers the information, the new information, and the Knight of Swords transmits that information, then when it arrives at the feet of the Queen, it's about allowing our inherent abilities, analytical, yes, but also spiritual in nature too, emotional in nature too, to pass through all of this information and see how much of it is actually useful, how much of it is actually true. You seem to have been turfing out all sorts of things, because we've got the Four of Pentacles here, in the attempt to both get rid of things that are untrue, things that you may have internalized, projections from other people and that kind of thing, but also, and more importantly, I feel, getting to the heart of the matter. We talk about this Four of Pentacles in terms of things that must be released, right? We see how somebody is holding on to something right there, but we're literally living in a world where barriers between things are being knocked down, and some of them needed to come down, but the rest of them were there for a reason. They were there to protect people. They were there to keep society and civilization moving. And we've come to a point where I think we've lost too much. In all truth, I think we have lost too much. I think barriers that should have stayed up have come down, and now it's the pursuit of what is important. What are those things that are really worth holding on to? What would you stake your, what is the hill that you will die on, Scorpio? I feel comfortable talking to you in these terms because I know that you get it. Right? Everybody's got a hill that they will die on, but for some signs, I think it's more. It isn't an intellectual proposition, it's a truth. And here's where we are. You have discovered what is important, and you will hold on to it come hell or high water, and it's death first before you let go of these things. We've got the Six of Wands at the bottom of the deck, and this sense of certainty and self-belief and in the truth that you seem to be holding right now seems to be obliterating anything that could even be remotely construed as doubt in your mind now. Now, I feel like this last few years has been a process that you have been going through in order to find that thing for yourself. And never was it more necessary than right now. So we move into your current energy, and we've got the Page of Pentacles and the Six of Cups. And I actually feel like there's somewhat of a rewrite of a narrative going on here. Oh, it's not the Six of Cups, beg your pardon, it's the Four of Cups. But the same applies. It's a rewriting of a narrative. When we talk about the Four of Cups, we talk about it in terms of rejection, and that is something that has always been an ever-present sting to a Scorpio. You know, so much so that you have built your entire life around a central core concept that says, if I don't put myself out there, if I don't engage, if I don't allow people into me, if I don't allow intimacy to build up, then I can keep myself safe. I mean, this is Moon in Cancer here, right? That first initial sting of rejection that you experienced at some point in your life molded the rest of your life moving forwards. And it could have been something quite extreme, or it could have been a slow build-up of things. You know, a lot of the people that I do personal readings for, I would be fairly comfortable in saying have some level of CPTSD. And that isn't from, you know, a one-off event, generally speaking. It's from a sustained attack over a period of time from people who were supposed to be doing something different, you know. It's a sustained rejection. It's your emotions don't matter. You don't matter. I matter. I'm important, not you. And how we construct our entire life around keeping what is precious within us safe by choosing never to show it to anybody else in the world. Well, this Page of Pentacles says that there's a realization that that's how you structured yourself and how you've structured your life. And it feels to me like you don't want to do that anymore. You know, this Page of Pentacles is taking something that you already have, right? Discovering the value of it and going, you can't reject this anymore. Nobody can reject this anymore because I'm not rejecting it in myself. I am holding this to be a truth that is solid about me. You know, I have been inside. I have done the work. It's like, you know, it's that incredible phenomenon of cancelling people that we're seeing, we have been seeing for the last few years. Like, cancel culture. It's absolutely astounding. Like, how the fuck can you cancel a person? You can't cancel a person. That's absolute nonsense. What you can do is you can bully a person and you can draw attention to them. You can make them a target. But you can't cancel a person. When we're talking about rejection, it's like in that moment of feeling like you have been cancelled by life. Rejected by somebody that you didn't want to be rejected by, and now you've been cancelled. You just don't matter, you're not important, right? That thing will have happened to you at some point in the past, Scorpio. But now, there's a realisation that that rejection, that cancelling, can only occur if you agree with it. If you decide to take that into yourself and say, well, yes, I admit I have been cancelled. There's no point in me, you know, trying anymore. I'm not going to put myself out there anymore. This is flipped with you. It's completely flipped. I'm trying to get my hair in the way of the sun so you can see the cards a little bit here. It's like what you are at the core of you is so fucking solid. Now, it doesn't matter who comes along with the cancel cup, whatever that is. Fucking making shit up now and saying you're cancelled, you're rejected. That right? It's like, okay, well, whatever. You know, this refusal to reject yourself, to cancel yourself anymore. I said the self-belief that is coming off this reading is absolutely insane right now. And it's in direct inverse proportion, rather, to the chaos outside, the conflict outside. You know, it's like society's eating itself at the moment. And you might be seeing that on the macro level, or you might be seeing it on the micro level. Everybody's at each other's throats. And you're like, I'm not joining in with that. That's ridiculous. You know, it's a refusal to be divided. It's a refusal to be labelled. It's a refusal to be put into a particular container and you know, defined by that. This is one of the biggest tragedies, I think, of the society that we live in at the moment, right? It's this absolute loss of critical thinking. It's the loss of the ability to be able to engage with an idea without advocating for it. And social media has been one of the worst things for perpetuating this, because what it's done is, instead of having a group of friends who all have different ideas, right? And I've spoken before about this. Chap who was my best friend, my absolute bestest friend forever, for years and years and years, right? He saw me through some really, really dark points in my life, and I'm so fucking blessed to know him. But he's a Pisces, right? And so kind of Leo and Pisces, actually they get on quite well, but it's a very different way of expressing oneself when you're trying to communicate that way, right? You know, he loved football. I fucking hated football. Absolutely fucking despised it. He loved it. He would travel to all of the games that his team were playing. What else? He was a Christian. His faith was very important to him. I was an absolute, heathen, who dabbled in all sorts of occult weirdness. Didn't matter. Yeah, he was a Tory, which at that point I was absolutely very, very left-leaning. It seems like the world's changed the definition of what politics actually means now, because without changing any of my values, I have ended up being somewhere entirely different. I don't consent to that. I actually choose not to engage with it anymore. The point is, on every single thing that we were interested in, we were at completely different ends of the spectrum, and it didn't matter because we were friends. We were actually quite entertained by what we perceived to be each other's foibles. But that's been lost now, because now we don't have the ability to have people with a disparate, different number of interests. Now you find your camp on social media and you sit there, and it creates this incredible echo chamber where you just get your same ideas repeated back to you. There's no growth in that. It's if anything, it's regressed people's ability to be able to think outside of their own paradigm. And it's at the point now where you have to identify as this, or you have to identify with that. And if you identify here, then everybody over here will reject you because, you've committed the sin of identifying over here. This is the chaos that we're living in right now, Scorpio. And it seems like the more that things are breaking down, the more this degradation is occurring, the stronger you stand in yourself, in your knowledge of yourself, in your refusal to engage with any of this bullshit. Got the Knight of Pentacles again. Just sitting down, doing your thing. You're just doing your thing. You're plodding on, one foot in front of the other, working on your stuff. We've got Four of Wands at the bottom of the deck. It's like your environment, the people that you have in your environment are more important than anything else. And that's where your focus is. In the truest sense, you are blocking out the lunacy of the outside world. And like I said, finding yourself inversely proportionate to the madness outside. It's like everything's making so much more sense. You know what is important. The depth that you have that sometimes has felt like it's, enough to suffocate you is now a source of, I think, great delight for you. It's certainly a source of comfort to you. And there's this sense of what you're experiencing being self-perpetuating. The world tells you to be afraid. So you're not afraid. The world tells you that you should expect to be attacked. You should expect to be rejected. You should expect to be cancelled if you don't conform with what everybody else thinks. So you think your own thing. You do your own thing. And you feel good doing it. Scorpio, this is tremendously fucking powerful. Like, if I've not really made it clear, this is an incredibly powerful place to be when everything is going mental. What do we have at the bottom of the deck? We have the Eight of Wands again. It talks about communication for sure, but for me it talks about momentum. There is this sense, and I'm feeling it here very, very strongly here, that there is there are a number of ones that are coming into land. Now, whether these are outside of you, well, I think possibly they are. Let's see what March holds. But it's true for you too. There are some big, big decisions that you are making this month. And they're possibly decisions that you did not see yourself making this time last year. Maybe you did, but maybe they were just, just kind of idle contemplations at this point. But something's changed. And it's like this idea that the time is now, is absolutely upon us. Right now. Now is the time where we do the thing. Now is the time where we make this big decision that is going to change our life. Now is the time that we head off on a new path. I mean, for some of you, it might be moving. And if it is moving, you're not moving down the street. You're emigrating, or you're moving across, you're moving to a different state altogether, or a different end of the country. This is big. Because with this Page of Swords, I said at the beginning that I felt like it was new insight, but everything that I've felt here says to me at this point, you don't really need any more insight. What you've needed is the ability to be able to synthesize everything that you know, to come to a conclusion, right? What is my next step forwards? And I think this here, this Page of Swords, is actually more about perhaps there being one last piece that just needed to fall into place. And then everything shifts, everything changes. You are literally changing your direction of travel. There's some planning to do, for sure, with the Knight of Pentacles. This is not something that you are going to be able to pull off quickly. Nevertheless, the planning starts for it right now. And it feels like it's something that could have felt to you a year ago like it might have been a little bit extreme. But with everything falling into place as it is now, it no longer feels extreme. Now it feels like a very sensible, practical plan moving forwards. And it seems to revolve around the idea of maintaining control. Tell me about this Emperor. We've got the Empress card, and we've got the Judgment card again. It's actually the Awakening card. And I really, really like this interpretation of the Judgment card. I even like the fact that it's called Awakening, because I don't think there's any more waking up that you need to do, but there's a certain transformative experience that sets in motion this month, so that in the months following this, life is going to be very, very different to how you have experienced it in the last wee while. We've got the Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck here, and perhaps it is that you've been waiting for somebody else to, other people who are important in this process to get on board with you. Maybe they've been a little bit resistant. Maybe they haven't seen the wisdom in what you've been proposing up until this point. But it seems like if that is the truth, then here they are. They're getting there. And now the energy is supporting you. We've got the Two of Cups, Three of Cups here. We've got the Magician. This is a month where moving mountains doesn't seem like it's a difficult thing for you to do. Like I said, it feels like a necessary practical step, and why would you not do it? Because with this Empress card, I like to see the Empress and the Emperor together because the balance. There's something inherently chaotic about the Empress. I mean, well, let's think about the yin yang, right? We've got the divine feminine and the divine masculine there. The yin yang is more than the sum of its parts. It actually depends on there being a balancing force on the other side of it to create something that is more than the sum of its parts. And there's a little bit of the yin in the yang and a little bit of yang in the yin. And although the Empress is fixed earth energy, there is something chaotic about feminine energy here, right? And if you've got too much chaos, then everything just falls apart. But conversely, if you have too much structure, everything becomes very rigid. It becomes inflexible. There is no room for flexing at all. And when you have them both together, when you have them supporting each other, there is a way that you can plan, there is a way that you can strategize, there is a way that you can take action on things that is sensible to root through. But with the Empress, there's that flexibility, there's almost like a malleability of reality that is possible. You put them both together and you've got a winning formula here for a huge life change. Massive. It's either that you've needed one last piece to fall into place, or maybe, no, I think that is, there's one last piece that had to fall into place. And whether that was another person or whether that was a piece of information that you required, this month, the plan to change everything is right here, and you will pull it off. You will absolutely pull it off. Because we've got the Magician at the bottom of the deck here. There's strong manifestation energy. There's a sense of a complete release of everything around you, save that which is important. And that which is important is getting picked up and taken with you. Now, I know I've talked about this in terms of a move, and I feel that very, very strongly for some of you, but I realise that not every single Scorpio is about to pick themselves up and move across state or emigrate or something like that. But the level of life change that we're talking about is commensurate with that. So it's not about the small things this month. Well, it is. It's about the one small thing dropping into place. But the effect of that is going to be absolutely enormous. I'm excited for you. I'm also a little bit envious because I'm feeling very static at the moment. Everything's changing. Everything. And it's by your hand, Scorpio. This doesn't feel to me like some sort of awful tower moment where you lose your job, or I don't know, you have an accident in your car and you can't afford to replace it or anything like this. This is not those kind of tower energies. This is no, I am ripping down my paradigm now because I have worked out what is important, because I am so full of self-belief. I'm going to go and do the thing, and I'm going to do it pretty much now. I'm going to start the process now. This is immense. Holy shit. Right, okay, I'm going over to Vimeo now. If you would like to join me, you know what to do. It's the first link in the description box. If not, no shade, do whatever you like. I don't mind. I'm really impressed, though, with what I'm seeing here, Scorpio. Like, this is exactly what you need. It's exactly what the world needs. And I am clapping like a fucking seal from the sidelines, watching it happen. I know that I love you all very, very much. And I'll see you soon.